Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. We are going to call the public meeting of September 22nd in the year of our Lord 2015 to order here in the city of Mount Pearl. The first thing that we have today, everybody notice we've got a little crowd today again? Yes. Nice to see. Hey, we don't...
They must have lost a bet.
What? Must have lost a bet. I thought he looked all right. Terrell, were we talking about? Oh, hold on. Were you his teacher?
I did teach him at Rice, I think, at one point.
You taught him at Brother Rice.
That's why he turned up so well.
What course? What courses did you teach?
I think it was elocution.
Elocution. We will find out. We're calling the meeting to order here. The first thing on our agenda today, obviously, is the adoption of the agenda. You have it in front of you. I'm going to entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented. So moved by Councillor Aker. It is seconded by Councillor Ledwell. Are there any additions at this point other than I have one here, which is an addition under proclamations that you may not have seen, Council. It is in reference to the annual Metrobus VOCM Cares food drive. We're going to do that. You have one as well. We'll get to that one. Items 4 and 5 have changed, or they are additions too? Okay, they are additions. Anything else? Okay, hearing none, we will call the question. All those in favor? Contrary-minded, motion is carried. Council, well, I'm actually wrong. Write it down. There is an agenda item that, again, still wore out writing it down. Council, one of the things that the city of Mount Pearl has been engaged in for some time, as you know, with workers' compensation, or what is now officially known as Workplace NL, which is WHSCC, which is, the acronym says it all, as far as I'm concerned, the Workplace Health, Safety, and Compensation Commission. They wanted to change their name. It's now going to be, from here on, simply referred to as Workplace NL. The city of Mount Pearl engaged in a program with the organization some time ago, the end result of which is that yours truly, your mayor, was a signatory to the CEO Safety Charter, which is a commitment about making our workplaces in Mount Pearl as safe as possible. One of the things that came about as a result of our engagement in that particular process was not only, I'm going to call it an increased emphasis on safety in the workplace as it relates to municipalities generally, but as it relates to the city of Mount Pearl for us in particular. We now have safety officers, we have health and occupational people, we have our own department handling that kind of stuff, and the results of that have been nothing but positive. The only desire is that we make this investment solely for the purpose of seeing to it that people who come to work in the morning or whatever shift it might be always go home at the end of their shift the way they arrived. The idea of avoiding workplace accidents and the idea of working safely really has to become for us, as the Ford Motor Company said many years ago, it has to be job one. So to that end, we have been participating as part of this CEO Safety Charter program for some time. There are now 63 CEOs that have signed on to the charter. There are only 2, however, that are municipalities, one being the town of Conception Bay South, the other being the city of Mount Pearl. Last week we had the honor of hosting a breakfast for the CEO Safety Charter program here in the city of Mount Pearl at Park Place, and we had about 60 people attend. And yours truly made a commitment. I'm sorry, I do this stuff, and you really should know what I'm putting you into. We decided that one of the things that should happen at all of our meetings, because Workplace NL actually urges this for every organization that they deal with, is that at the head end of every meeting, there should be a thing called a safety share. For those of us familiar with it, and in Mount Pearl we get emails from time to time about a safety share involving our own organization. And this comes from our occupational health and safety officers on a regular and ongoing basis. So from now on, at our public council meeting, it is proposed, recommended, suggested that we see to it at the head end of all of our public council meetings that we perform a safety share. So I'm going to start. So here's our first safety share. And because it came up at our breakfast, it's an easy one to actually do. Given the amount of driving and the amount of traveling involved when we participate in municipal activities, not just here in our city, but I think pretty well every single member of our city council in one form or another serves on other municipal or voluntary or community committees. Given that we do so much of that work, and it involves odd hours many times, including weekends, evenings, nighttime activities, we are going to take this moment to remind ourselves and the people viewing today, because Rogers is with us today as well, that you should always ensure that somebody knows your whereabouts and that you have a check-in practice before you leave where your residence or your work and where you're going, and that you let people know, particularly if you're going to be on a highway, when you're heading out. So it's just a nice idea and a thought that if you're going to be, for example, like I was last weekend in Carbonear, and you're leaving at 7 o'clock in the evening to go there, it's nice to tell someone I'm leaving for Carbonear. I should be there by 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I'll call you when I arrive. And as I did on Saturday when I left, to phone and say I'm leaving Carbonear now and I'm on my way home, should be home in a couple of hours. So there's a safety share to pass on to everybody, that when we travel, let's make sure that somebody knows where we're going, when we are expected to arrive. All right, all for our own safety. So here's the way this is going to work for the rest of you. Our next council meeting, it will be the deputy mayor's turn to provide a safety share. And after that, it will be Councillor Stoyles, and then it will be Councillor Walsh, then it will be Councillor Tessier, Councillor Aker, and Councillor Ledwell. Does anybody get an idea this is a seniority thing we're doing here?
And then staff?
Identical to the way we do question period, the way we do new business. Question period. Well, it does become question period. I've not considered the possibility of staff. We could do that, Madam CEO.
Should we be this alone?
Why should we suffer this alone? Maybe we'll throw some staff members in there for this as well. I think that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Moving along. First item, the first real item on the agenda, now that everybody knows where we are today, at home and elsewhere, the first item would be our minutes and the action report from the public meeting of September 8th. I will entertain a motion to accept that as presented. It is moved by the Deputy Mayor. I'm looking to the other side now because I like to flip back and forth. Seconded by Councillor Walsh. And the first item would be any errors or omissions in the minutes of September 8th. Errors or omissions?
Yes, Your Worship.
Councillor Aker.
I want to point out for the benefit of council, minute number 15-09579, which dealt with the contract related to the airtight sheet metal for the H. Neil Windsor Municipal Building Garage. The amount we had mentioned in the meeting, and the motion was $185,022.81,
right,
including HST, but the HST was doubled up in the amount. So the amount of the motion should have read $163,737, even HST included, and I just wanted to clarify for the record.
Less than, we are not then, I'm assuming, required to, because it's not a higher amount, it's a lesser amount, we're not required to redo the motion.
No.
All right, it's just for information. Okay, thank you. Any other errors or omissions from the minutes or the action report? Hearing none, we'll call it. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Council, we have a number of proclamations today as well. There are 3 of them there now, one of which I mentioned to you a moment ago. And we're going to go down through the 3 of them. Well, we might as well do them in the order that they are there now. We'll start with Fire Prevention Week. You will see in the gallery that we have Inspector Gary Power here with us. And I'm assuming, Inspector Power, you're going to come and say a few words to us about what your plans for the week. And I'm going to read the proclamation into the record. And I'm going to invite you to come up here. Take this little microphone. It's one of the things at our City Hall we've got to set up is a place for this at some point. And we're going to get you to do that. And I'm going to read the proclamation into the record. Council, it reads as follows. Whereas the City of Mount Pearl is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our city. And whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are where people are at their greatest risk to fire. And whereas cooking equipment is the leading cause of home structure fires and associated injuries are the third leading cause of home fire deaths. And whereas heating and electrical equipment and smoking materials are among the leading causes of reported home fires. And whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in a reported home fire in half. And whereas the City of Mount Pearl first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire deaths and injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas Mount Pearl residents are responsible to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas the Fire Prevention Week 2015 theme, Hear the Beep Where You Sleep, effectively serves to remind us all of the simple actions we can take to stay safer from fire during Fire Prevention Week and year-round. Therefore, I, Randy Sims, Mayor of the City of Mount Pearl, do hereby proclaim the week of October 4th to 10th as Fire Prevention Week. I urge all the people of Mount Pearl to heed the important safety messages of Fire Prevention Week and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the St. John's Regional Fire Department's fire and emergency services. And I call upon the people of the city to participate in fire prevention activities at home, work, and school, and to take the steps needed to make their homes and families safe from the leading causes of home fires, which include cooking, heating, and electrical. And with that, I will affix a signature. And Inspector Power, I'm going to hand this microphone to you and ask you to address council and talk about some of your plans for Fire Prevention Week 2015.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for having us again this year to start off Fire Prevention Week. We've got a change in the parade, which happens on the 3rd, and that's it's actually going to start now in Logie Bay Outer Cove, Middle Cove. So that has been a change for us, and we'll go through St. John's, Mount Pearl, Paradise schools, and
It's a long parade.
It is a long parade.
Yeah.
You have to go to the washroom before you start. It was about 2.5 hours. So,
Yeah.
But it's a big parade, and it lets people know that Fire Prevention Week is here. So it's pretty exciting for us. We are going to be into the malls with an information booth from Monday to Saturday. So we encourage all public to drop by, ask any questions, any concerns that you might have. It's a great opportunity to speak to inspectors. We will be in the schools doing our fire drills. Fire suppression will be taking part in that. So we'll be in all the schools in our area. And on Saturday the 10th is our Fire Recognition Day, and we encourage everybody to come by our central fire station. Pea soup will be made, and firefighters' pea soup, so it's
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. So we encourage everybody to drop by, say hello, have a look at the trucks, and meet the firefighters. And
Kids
then
love it. Kids love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. We like it too. We enjoy it. And then we cap it all off with we have a poster contest in the elementary schools, and the winner of the poster contest is fire chief for a day, and you Mayor Sims participates in that, and it's a great opportunity, and I can't imagine what it's like for a child to be picked up in a pumper and taken to school and then taken around to meet everybody. So it's pretty exciting. It really is.
And they get to go to McDonald's. Just add it.
That's right. And they get to go to
I
McDonald's.
never get invited to go to the lunch, though.
Well, you have to come this year.
Right. You pay.
You never have the time.
There you go.
So it's an exciting week for us, and we really appreciate your involvement in it, and thank you again. And we do have a banner that we're going to ask you to put up as well.
We would be honored to display the banner and, again, to continue to promote Fire Prevention Week. We haven't had a lot of fire losses in our community over the years, knock on wood on that, and not a lot of injury or a loss of life as a result. We have the benefit of, quite frankly, dealing with and working with one of the most professional fire services in the country. The 911 response system, by the way, that's used here is a category that there's only, I think, 2 cities in the whole of Canada that actually have such a response system. It's swift, it's accurate, it's pretty good. St. John's is one of them, and I think there's only 2 or 3. So that's pretty good, all in all. But I think it's when we do these types of community outreach programs like Fire Prevention Week and provide the kind of education that it provides to our citizens, that we really kind of, raise the consciousness and awareness just that little bit more, so that people will do all the things they've got to do, including change your smoke alarms come Halloween. Come on. That's, by the way, I'm assuming, hear the beep where you sleep means that?
It does. So it's a start, but it's a promotion again to have working smoke alarms in your homes, and it is the time of year where you change the batteries and make sure they're working properly, and of course test them on a regular basis. We know that they save lives, so they're an important feature of your home, and they're very inexpensive.
We truly appreciate this. Thank you very much, Inspector, for coming and doing this. We will gladly raise that banner in our city on behalf of the Regional Fire Service, and we look forward to you reporting back that you've had a tremendously successful week yet again this year.
Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, sir, very much. We do appreciate it. Thank you. Have we got a banner out? Have we got the banner out? Let's get a picture. How large is it? Okay. We got to get a picture. We got to put it on the wide-angle lens. That's right. Well, do we need all the council to hold this thing? Yes, please. All right, guys, come on out from back. The answer is we are all going to hold it.
Are you going to abandon anyway?
Gary, hit it, buddy.
Jason, are you able to?
Getting abandoned.
Yes.
Hold on. So did we put this outside? Yeah, this out on the building, right? All right. Okay. Sorry, Lucy. No. We're just going to stand here. Okay. Do we have Jason? Are you good to go? There you go. Thank you very, very much. We're just going to hold it for now.
Thanks, Gary.
Oh, sorry, Mother Gary. We got to hold it now. Yeah, like the wife taught you. Or your mother, in my case. There you go.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir, very much.
We'll take that back.
There?
Yeah, we'll just lay it back there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Take that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, very much. And again, pass on to all of your colleagues our appreciation for the work conducted every day by our fire service. It is truly appreciated. Thank you, sir, so much. Okay, Council, the second proclamation on our agenda today, we don't have anybody to speak to it, and I was not aware of this before, and I'm not sure Council was, but I think I'm going to suggest to Council that we're not going to let this day go by just signing the proclamation here. I believe that on October the 1st, the City of Mount Pearl, because we boast having the largest seniors recreational organization in the province, with over 438 members, I think was the last count, something like that, wasn't it? 438? Something Shirley said like that, Shirley Boone, who's chair. October 1st is National Seniors Day. And so I'm going to say, while I read the proclamation into the record and sign it today, I would really like for us as a city to be able to do something for our seniors group. Our community services director is looking at me with his eyes going wide, going, what's he doing to me now? To recognize that day and to recognize the contribution in particular of our seniors here in this city on that day. Council, the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas on October 1st, communities across Canada will join together to recognize National Seniors Day, and whereas seniors in the city of Mount Pearl are present in all aspects of our lives, they are our parents, our grandparents, our teachers, our volunteers, our mentors, our neighbors, and our co-workers, and whereas National Seniors Day focuses on celebrating and recognizing the contributions made by seniors to better their communities, families, and workplaces, and whereas every day seniors right here in the city of Mount Pearl make a big difference, and we value what they are contributing. Therefore, I, Randy Sims, Mayor of the City of Mount Pearl, do hereby proclaim October 1st as National Seniors Day and urge my fellow citizens to recognize the crucial role played by older Canadians in our community, to which I will affix my signature. And as I say, we do not have someone with us today to speak to it, but I do want us to make note of that day and to come up with some way to recognize the day and show appreciation to the seniors here in the city of Mount Pearl. I'm assuming council would agree that we do that. Okay, something like that. They'll come up with. If we leave it to Jason Collins and his staff, they will come up with something. Council, our third proclamation that we're going to sign today is one I'm sure that all of us would be familiar with. I want to welcome down in the back of the room a very nice-looking audience. Right? I said to Councillor Walsh before the council meeting started, I said, "What a motley crew down there in the back! Look at them." And he said, "For a fellow looking for votes, you should be nicer than that." So we have a very nice-looking audience down there in the back. We're familiar with them all and friends with them all. I want to say welcome to Egg Walters with the Community Food Sharing Association. Hi, Egg. Are you going to do some talking here today? Okay. I'm going to invite all of these people, if you want, to come up with me here while we sign this proclamation, and then, Edgar, you can do it. So Egg Walters is here. Michelle Squires as well with the Community Food Sharing Network. Jackie Dollamont with the VOCM Cares Foundation is here. Ed Grucci from Metrobus, who is retired and has been, and you can't wipe the smile off his face. How long have you been retired, Ed? 2 years now. And Sherry Evans also with Metrobus. I want all of you to come up with me. I'm going to read the proclamation into the record. And for those of you who don't know, Mr. Grucci I tried to remember, he told me this will be the 26th annual initiative here. So I think we can all be pretty proud of that. The proclamation reads as follows, Council. Whereas hunger is recognized as a major problem in our society, and whereas food banks are under ever-increasing pressure to meet the need for healthy food for the less fortunate, and whereas the St. John's Transportation Commission through Metrobus and the VOCM Cares Foundation have joined forces to help food banks meet this need, now, therefore, I, Mayor Randy Sims, declare the week of October 4th to 10th as Metrobus VOCM Cares Thanksgiving Food Drive Week in the city of Mount Pearl, and on behalf of council would urge citizens to give generously to this very worthy cause, to which I shall affix a signature. And Ed, if you would, I'm going to invite you to take this and step up here on the podium piece here, and on the dais, and let me, oh, it's Egg I'm going to. Sorry, Ed, you stay there too. Egg, sorry, going the wrong way. Tell us a little bit about plans for this year.
Well, this is the 26th year that we've had the annual VOCM Metrobus Food Drive, and we partner with Sobeys as well, and certainly all of the schools. And we'd like to invite as many businesses in the St. John's, Mount Pearl, and Conception Bay South areas to perhaps have a food drive at their place of business as well. And in addition to this, it was one thing to get the food, it's another thing to get it separated and sorted and box it. So we've got two crews from PricewaterhouseCoopers, the accounting firm, coming in on I think it's the 12th and 13th to box and sort all of the food that comes in. So we've had a great relationship with the city of Mount Pearl, certainly, and with VOCM Cares and with Metrobus. And I think we call Mr. Grucci Mr. Food Bank, because he's been so
he's been
so
devoted for a long time to this.
Before I pass the microphone over, I'd certainly like to thank the city of Mount Pearl too for giving us an accommodation on our taxes on our rental property, and we really appreciate all you do for us and the less fortunate throughout the whole of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Thank you, Mr. Walters. We try where we can to help all of this food that gets collected, and it's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. Does it all stay in this region, or does it actually get distributed where it's needed in the province? Really?
Spain, St. Anthony, Port of Ask, really. People that are hungry in St. Anthony are just as deserving of the food as people who are hungry in St. John's.
So you must have huge transportation links and people helping you do that as well.
We have a great accommodation with Day and Ross Newfoundland Limited.
Okay.
Who pull for us anywhere in the province on a donated basis. Sorry, not on a donated basis, on a cost basis. And they'll also pull for us anywhere in St. John's on a donated basis. So without great companies like Day and Ross Newfoundland Limited, and certainly VOCM Cares Metrobus, City St. John's and City Mount Pearl, we just wouldn't be able to exist.
Well, given that I was there when this started 26 years ago, it only shows our age, but I have to say it is one of the things that has continued without abatement every year. I don't know whether it gets bigger every year. I only know that the need seems to get bigger every year. So I'm going to invite the citizens of Mount Pearl for sure, and I'm going to invite our staff here at the city to actually conduct this food drive in our own operations here. and hopefully that we'll be able to add to the food that you get to distribute as a result of the Metrobus VOCM Cares Food Drive in 2015. And to all of you, thank you for your work and service to the community. I think it's wonderful.
The less fortunate throughout all of Newfoundland and Labrador, certainly, thank you very much.
They need the help of that, there's no doubt. Councillor Tessier with a comment.
Yep, I was speaking with Mr. Walters just before our meeting, and while, of course, there's a great demand for food, which is non-perishables, there's also a great demand for perishable food, and I think that the food bank would also be very welcoming of any cash donations. Correct?
We turned down no donation.
No donation at all. So if you...
Well, they loves money.
Yeah, so money, but I mean, that's true.
Money
I mean,
buys the perishables.
Perishables have to be purchased.
Yeah.
People have to have produce and vegetables and milk and meats, and so it's very important. So if you are feeling generous and taking some things out of your cupboard or buying a couple of extra bags of groceries, also consider please writing a check.
Thank you very much. I'm going to get you all out front with me now. And we're going to get another picture here. Oh, maybe I should sign this other one. Is that what you're saying? Will the pen sign it? Yes, it will. All right. All right, what are we doing? How am I doing? You stand there. Let's do it like this. All right, everybody smile, is it? Thank you guys very much. Good luck with the week. I hope it's a huge success. Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Good to see you. It is a marvelous program. Do you know a program we've lost though now? You know, we've lost the one with the postal workers. We've lost the door-to-door one with the because of the loss of the door-to-door postal service, right, and all of that kind of thing. Anyway, this one's a huge one, and it goes very well every year. I'm glad that Mount Pearl plays a role in it. So, good luck with it, guys. Thank you very much. All right, where are we now? We've gone through, that's all of the proclamations. We have correspondence. I have none to table. I'm assuming no one does then. We are going to move on to committees. We have a new committee structure. We should identify that and state that, where once we had 6 standing committees, we've now collapsed a couple of them for efficiency's sake and organizational structure into 3 standing committees. Corporate and community services, planning and development, infrastructure and public works. It doesn't mean that the work gets any easier or that you won't spend as much time at it. It probably means you'll spend a little more. But we do believe that for efficiency's sake, it's probably going to be better for us in doing that. But how we conduct it at council will be different, because we're not looking at a situation where we have a chair and then a member. We're looking at a situation where we have co-chairs or co-members, and they will share the duties of these committees when they report particularly to council, and these committees will report obviously at every meeting of council. So we are starting today with corporate and community services. Councillor Ledwell.
Thank you, Your Worship. First item on our new committee agenda this evening is related to an event that we have had in the city of Mount Pearl for quite some time, as you all know, that being the Oktoberfest Craft Fair, which is happening on the Monday of the Thanksgiving weekend, October 12th, 2015. It's happening, of course, at the Reed Community Centre, as it always does, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a great opportunity to get started on the shopping season for the holidays that are creeping up on us, I guess, even though it is still September. Admission is going to be $2, and children under 12 are going to be admitted free of charge. Our Girl Guides here in Mount Pearl are going to be providing a sausage luncheon in the refreshment garden at the event. And if anybody desires more information, certainly they can contact Krista Tucker here at City Hall at 748-1008. Promises to be a good event once again this year.
Excellent.
Our next item, and I'm going to see if I can say this not 5 times fast, but 1 time anyway, the Turkey Tea Timex 10K Road Race. For the information of the public, this road race is scheduled for Sunday, October 11th. It's going to start at 8 a.m. In the Donovan's Business Park at the corner of Dundee and Glencoe Drive. The event is going to last for 90 minutes. It's got a 90-minute time limit, and it's going to finish up at Park Place. Of course, St. John Ambulance, Rover Search and Rescue, and municipal enforcement will all be assisting with the event. They've all been made aware, and we want to wish best of luck to all of the participants.
So are we, just as a question, are we having to do anything with road networks for that? Do we have to close a road or just a lane, or what do we have to do there? Just at the intersections to control traffic. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Our next item is related to a tax deferral request for a low-income earner. You'll see, as outlined in the kit, we do have one account that we're recommending approval for a tax deferral, and I so move.
It is moved and seconded by Councillor Stoyles. Question or comment? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried.
Our next item is an uncollectible account. Your Worship, we have noted that we have a business that is closed, and all of our collections efforts have been exhausted to this point. Therefore, we discussed as committee, and we do recommend approval to write off the balance and remove the account from the city's records, and I so move.
Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried.
Next up, we have our list of invoices for approval. You'll see there items 1 to 10 are all listed. The larger receipts, I guess, or larger invoices are related to regional services. You see there the $333,022 for water consumption for the month of August, and another $103,000 related to the cost of the Metrobus service for the month of August. So those are the larger items there. But we do have a total of $603,304.71, and we'd like to move that we pay those invoices.
Moved, seconded by Councillor Stoyles. Any question or comment on the invoices listed 1 through to 10? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded, motion is carried.
Next item, Your Worship, is related to a couple of professional development and training requests. First of all, we have a request from Councillor Walsh to attend the Athletics Business Conference in New Orleans, Louisiana, from November 18th to the 21st of 2015. This professional development request is in accordance with the professional development and training policy of the city, and certainly we would like to move that we allow Councillor Walsh to attend that under his training and development allowance.
Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried.
The next request, again under professional development, is a request from Deputy Mayor Locke to attend the Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador Convention in Gander, Newfoundland and Labrador from November 5th to the 7th, 2015. Certainly, once again, this falls under Council's professional development and training policy, and once again, we certainly recommend that we approve Deputy Mayor Locke to attend that convention, and I so move.
Moved, seconded. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded, motion is carried.
And our final item, Your Worship, for the new Community and Corporate Services Committee is just a piece of information for Council and for the public. For the information of the public, the financial statements from the Municipal Assessment Agency with their year end of March 31st, 2015 have been received. They are available for viewing at City Hall within the Corporate Services Department, so anybody from Council or from the public who would like to see those certainly are more than welcome to come into City Hall and have a look.
Thank you, sir, very much. That concludes Corporate and Community Services.
It does.
Moving on, Infrastructure Public Works Committee report. Councillor Tessier.
Councillor Tessier is going to start, and Councillor Aker is going to pick up some. That's right. That's right. We're tagging out. We are looking for approval for a tender supply of 1 new yard tractor complete with mower deck and snowblower. This unit is going to be solely dedicated for the summit and the glacier. We received 1 qualified bidder, Newfoundland Kubota Limited, Harvey and Company, for the amount of $49,663.50, HST included, and I so move.
Moved, seconded by Councillor Aker. This is a
It sounds fancy.
mower deck and snow blower, but it's the snow blowing piece that I'm
Mower
more
blower.
interested. Snow blower. I'm more interested in the snow blowing piece of it. This is going to do the Summit parking lot. Is that the idea? Or
That's the intention, is it not? Yes.
It'll be dedicated to those. So, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
That's good. Any other question or comment?
Oh dear.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried.
I'm sorry, Your Worship, you have to bear with me. My iPad has a mind of its own, I can tell you that. Oh my gosh, mine just jumps all over the place. It's
Really?
unbelievable. Yeah, truly. Okay, we're going to give you some updates now on some projects that are happening. As far as street upgrading is concerned, right now our 2015 pavement marking program is 95% complete. Some areas of thermoplast have to be finalized. There's some line painting and longitudinal and traverse lines and some symbols and stuff that we're still working on. But we're looking at having them all done by September the 30th of this year. Our asphalt concrete repair program is 90% complete with an approximate completion date of the end of October. So that's concrete curb, gutter, and sidewalk replacement repairs, some grinding and patching as well that are taking place on multiple streets throughout the city. Our multi-year capital works program, we've got several projects there to update you on, with Hand Place, Jeffers Place, O'Keefe Avenue, Hounsell Avenue, the street upgrading, which involved some removal and replacement of concrete curb, gutter, and resurface asphalt. They are all complete, we're very happy to say. We always say there's 2 seasons in Newfoundland and Labrador, winter and construction season.
That's it.
We are very much into construction season, but we're cluing it up. The stormwater remediation project, that is 95% complete with some work being done on Park Avenue with the installation of storm sewer laterals to various properties to transfer some pumps currently connected to the sanitary system to the storm sewer system, and this is expected to be finished at the end of this month as well.
How many will we have done?
Oh,
Do we
that's a
know the
good
number,
question.
Mark? How many? 57.
Imagine that.
Wow.
Imagine that. That is. 2nd Street and Windsor Place are 85% complete. That's the upgrading of sanitary, storm, and or water systems.
I understand that paving started on Windsor Place today. Is that correct?
Paving.
Didn't start?
I don't think it started today.
No, I'm thinking the driveways there.
No.
They didn't start today? Okay.
We're looking at, for those 2 streets, for 2nd Street and Windsor Place, we're looking at a closing date of September 30th, the end of the month as well. So right now it's 85% complete. We're still on schedule. 3rd Street and Wilcox Place are both at 90% complete with a completion date of September 30th. Again, that's just upgrading of sanitary, storm, and or water systems, some work on concrete curb and gutter and sidewalk resurfacing and some asphalt resurfacing as well. Under our Building Canada Fund, we've got projects happening on Pumphrey Crescent and Princeton Avenue. Those are 75% complete. We're upgrading the sanitary, storm, and or water systems, removing and replacing some concrete curb, gutter, sidewalk, some asphalt resurfacing as well. So that is expected to be done around October 30th. As far as some general road work that's happening, asphalt repairs are going to continue until the plants close. In the spring, we're always excited about the plants opening. When the plants open, when they open. Now we're going to work until they close. So we certainly maximize that season, and there's no doubt about that. Crews are continuing to reinstate our UTM digs, and there's some grinding and patchwork that's still being done. Our summer bulk garbage collection by appointment ended at the end of August. I think it's very safe to say that's a very successful program, and we're really proud of that.
Yeah, there was a request that went out. I think it might have been Councillor Stoltz. We got some numbers. The number of requests. It's coming up.
Yeah, it's in the report.
It's coming up in the report? Good, okay,
Yeah.
good.
We do have one more citywide schedule that's going to be available to residents in September. This is September, so of course, if you are wondering if you've missed your opportunity or if your opportunity is still coming, look online or call the depot or call City Hall. We'll be happy to help you out with that.
2 areas are done, I think. Two programs.
Okay.
Okay, Councillor
Councillor Stoyles
Stoyles
has
with
a
a
question.
question?
I just had a question about storm sewer, and I know Park Avenue is done, and I know there was a number of people on Jersey Avenue as well that has been done. But we received a number of phone calls about other people that wanted to get hooked up that maybe weren't identified. I know there was a gentleman in Jersey that had contacted me a couple of times. Yes, and I'm just wondering if the people who contacted us wanting to be hooked up, even though they weren't part of this year's work, if they were wondering if we're going to continue on with it, and I'm assuming we are next year, and I just wanted to let residents know if they weren't contacted this year, that maybe in the spring, that, you know, when we do the new budget, depending on how much money we have for that project, that they will be contacted. I'm just wondering if someone has contacted those people.
I know we've been contacted by a number of people as well, and what we've been telling people basically is that the contract for this year is finished up, and we are looking to expand the program somewhat. And we're just basically taking names on a list right now, and we'll contact people in the existing catchment area. And we're also going to expand the catchment area to other areas of the city. So
That's also budget consideration.
I will
at
make
this
sure you
point.
have the names of the people that contacted me. I know,
Exactly, yeah.
I know Jerry has them, but just in case.
Yeah.
Because there was a couple on Jersey Avenue.
not a problem. I think the expansion of the program was actually discussed a few meetings ago. So, yeah.
Yep, all right, good.
Okay, perfect.
Counselor?
Okay, as far as our parks and fields are concerned, sports maintenance work and the mowing of the fields, of course, is ongoing, and that's definitely day-to-day work that needs to be completed in order to make our fields safe and usable. Crews continue to clean up litter from the trails and our walkways, so it's not just in the spring of the year when we're cleaning up from winter. This, of course, is ongoing work all the time. MADVAC continues to clean throughout the city full-time. Street sweeping activities are ongoing, of course, and there's a new playground structure installed by our IPW crew at Forsey Place. Other installations are ongoing as well. As far as water and sewer is concerned, the hydrant flushing, of course, continues. Crews continue to clean catch basins, which is particularly important this time of year when we can have very heavy rainfalls and sometimes unexpected. Our leak detection program is incredibly successful right now. We have identified 70 leaks. 38 of those have been repaired. So, of course, that means our water usage is being significantly reduced. And, of course, we are getting our winter fleet ready for winter with some standard everyday maintenance in preparation of the dreaded season.
Can we not talk about winter?
Dreaded season. Dreaded season. Remember?
Okay,
Dreaded season. Don't like it.
So there's people who love winter, let's be honest. Councillor Aker.
I'm going to take it from here, Your Worship, and I'm
Okay.
going to talk about a summer success, and that was our bulk garbage by appointment that we did this year.
Yep.
We do this for June, July, and August. Any resident can call in, make an appointment, and if the staff are busy doing other appointments that day, it's just a matter of working at another time. Each resident is entitled to 2 of these free collections during the months of June, July, and August, and just simply got to call Public Works or fill out an online application. The systems work well. We used to have 3 general collections: spring, summer, and fall. This has replaced the summer one, and generally speaking, not only has the reaction from residents has been very, very positive, the take-up has been very good too. As you can see the numbers there, it's growing. In 2014, we did 394 appointments, and in 2015, it's gone up to 469, and is ever popular. And I encourage residents to do this. This is a very efficient use of resources. And it also, when it comes to the fall pickup, it reduces the amount we have to pick up the fall. And of course,
Yeah.
if it wasn't convenient for you to make an appointment during the summer, the fall pickup is still there, as
Still
is
there.
the following springs, right? Yep. So that's the bulk garbage by appointment. And
A question from the Deputy Mayor, Councillor?
The bulk garbage, you're right. I mean, the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive about these private appointments. I raised this one time before, and wonder if the committee can have a look at this from a recycling perspective. Some municipalities, prior to their bulk garbage collection day, they have what they're calling upcycling. I think that's what they call it on Pinterest. So, like we
call it what?
Upcycling.
Upcycling.
So the way they schedule, like, I mean, I had my bulk garbage this week, for example. So my bulk garbage went out Sunday evening as per protocol. But there's always people that drive around and they pick through the bulk garbage, and you know they try to find stuff that's useful. But in many cases, there's a lot of mess made. So what they do in some jurisdictions is, let's say, the Saturday before the Monday bulk garbage collection, they encourage residents to put out anything that is good. That, like you might have a television or a desk or a couch or a dinette set, and the people put it out in their neighborhoods, and then there's no picking required. They just take the 2 or 3 items. Some stuff is non-reusable that needs to go to the landfill. And I just think it might be a great initiative to reduce down on our tonnage that we're bringing to the landfill, which will save costs. It certainly will help the environment because we're making use of perfectly good items. And I know, for example, in Fredericton, where my son is attending the university, the students go up and they move into their apartments, and they do a similar thing where whatever's left in the apartment or their dorm, they put it out. And people know that if you leave this stuff out on the street, it is takeable. So then the kids go around their pickup trucks and they take office chairs and then whatever's left afterwards that's broken or in disrepair, Then the city comes around and takes that to the bulk garbage. So they're significantly reducing the amount of stuff that we have to pick up.
I like that. That's a good
So
idea.
I'm just wondering if that's something that our committee can have a look at, and maybe we can look at it probably for this coming April, and just try a pilot project where in one of our neighborhoods, see what the uptake is, and see what the end result is.
I
So
like
just
the
want to
idea.
throw that out
Councillor
there.
Tessier.
Yep, actually, it's funny that
And
you
it's
should
called upcycling.
bring this up. Yeah, that you should bring this up, Deputy Mayor, because I saw the exact same thing in Halifax. I'm in Halifax with work fairly regularly, and the way that they dispose of garbage and recycling and compost, they do have compost facilities, but the way that they do it is just remarkable, really, really incredibly remarkable. There's very little garbage that goes to the landfill, and they do the exact same thing. They have a day where you can put out something that is usable. You're done with it, but as long as it's not broken, as long as it's still usable, this is your day. They put it out, and nobody judges when you come by and you take it, but you don't want it anymore. And you also don't, we as a municipality wouldn't have to pay for the disposal of it. So it's organized in a city like Halifax. There's no reason why we can't do that here.
Well, we should give it a try.
Yeah.
I'm game. Bring it to your committee, guys, and
Yeah, we'll gladly do that. The nice thing about it is you leave it on your lawn, say, or your front driveway on Saturday. If nobody comes by to take anything, well, it's already out for Monday when the bulk garbage pickup comes by. So very little effort to do it, and only can benefit the recycling cause. Right?
upcycling day. I like it.
Upcycling it is.
I like it. Okay.
All right, items 4 and 5 for council. These were outside of the kit, so I
Yes,
hope
sir.
everybody has a paper copy. They're both contract awards. The first one is related to street upgrading. CP2, Municipal Avenue, and Maple Street to Delaney. The tender here is in the amount of $356,600.32, HST included, to Infinity Construction. They were the lowest compliant bidder, and the funding is already provided for under the multi-year capital works budget, and I so move.
It is moved, seconded by Councillor Tessier. Question or comment? Can I just say I understand this work is going to get underway right away? Yeah, and it's important for us. We do have a big plan for a seniors development on Municipal Avenue. All of this work is the area that we committed to residents down there outside of that area.
Right.
This is work that is needed to be done. And while we have been somewhat delayed on the project, I didn't want residents to have the sense or feeling that maybe we were delaying everything as a result of that when commitments had been made. So I'm delighted to see that we're able to go ahead with this, Council.
You're right, Your Worship. This is not driven by just one development. This is
No, it
really
is
good
not.
for the city and for the neighborhood.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
So do we need to call a question on that?
Yes, please.
Okay, it is moved and seconded. All those in favor? Contrary minded, motion is carried.
The next item is a contract award as well for consulting services, and it relates to looking at our former pool building, which is now vacant because of the construction and the operation of the new Summit Center in its pool. So we want to have a look at basically what we could do in terms of reusing the building. Basically, the funding is going to be coming from the existing multi-year capital works budget. The committee is recommending that Fougere Mentioned Architecture be awarded this work. Their proposal was the best. The amount is $23,215.50, HST excluded, and I so move.
Moved, seconded by Councillor Tessier. Questions or comments? I'm excited to see what they come back with, because I agree with what some of senior staff have said to us about this, that this is a building that can definitely be repurposed.
It can, Your Worship.
I'm waiting to see what comes back.
And at the end of the day, we've often talked about how do we develop that whole property, not just the building.
And that's a challenge
So one of
for
the
us as well.
alternatives, I guess, we could have looked at, a very easy decision would have been to demolish the building.
Yeah.
So we need to go through this measure. It's a small expenditure of taxpayers' dollars to spend. We may get a very practical and good investment going forward.
That's what I'm looking forward to seeing come out of it. Thank you. Call the question on it. All those in favor? Contrary minded, motion is carried. Planning and Development Committee report.
I'll go first.
Councillor Walsh going first.
We're going to do a similar thing. We're going to divide the
Split it all up,
responsibilities
divide and
a little bit. The first item, Your Worship, is kind of an exciting project for me, and I'm sure for Council as well, but particularly for the business owners, excuse me, in Donovan's Business Park. We have an initiative that's aimed at business retention and expansion, whereby we try to work with the business owners in Donovan's Business Park to see what we can do to assist them to either make sure their business continues to be successful and viable, or even better still, perhaps even to look at opportunities for expansion of the business, particularly in Business Park. Now, as Council is well aware, I've been advocating for a couple of years for reinvestment in Donovan, so this really is a great initiative from a planning and economic development perspective. Tomorrow morning, in fact, at Mount Pearl Hotel, there is a session taking place. We have 30 or 40 representatives from the Donovan's Business Park attending, and this is being done in partnership with Business, Tourism, Culture, and Rural Development. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's the Tourism Department and Economic Development.
I call it the Alphabet Department.
Yeah, we call it the Alphabet Department.
BTCRD.
They're doing this in the morning. It starts at 8 o'clock, and as part of that's the same session. It's being piggybacked, but our session with Donovan's Business Retention Expansion is going first. But an interesting thing that's been done by, I think, representatives from Municipal Affairs as well, is some sessions whereby they can talk to the business owners about a blended tax for the future. So that will be interesting input that will be received as well. Tomorrow's meeting is just the first part of the session. There will be individual interviews held with a number of the business owners throughout Donovan's, and I think it's tremendous. Donovan's Business Park is still by far the largest business park in the province. I still think it's the best, but we need to continue to reinvest in it because as Council is fully aware, and anybody who's driven throughout the Northeast Avalon is fully aware now, we do have competition and in our own backyard. So we need to make sure that we're reinvesting in good infrastructure, and to that end we are reinvesting. We have a fairly significant and robust plan for capital reinvestment in Donovan's over the next number of years, which will be tremendously helpful. So we're playing a little bit of catch-up, but we're playing catch-up by spending a little bit of extra money on the capital, and there'll be more said about that over the next year or two, I'm sure. The second item, Your Worship, that was just for the information of Council. There's no motion required. Although we do have I think we're picking up an expenditure for coffee and things, but that's just an administrative cost, I think. The second item is related to the Glendale Avenue proposed development. There is a developer that called a meeting of residents of Glendale Avenue and surrounding area to talk about their plans to build a condominium development in the area. Now, there were a lot of questions raised in the meeting, and of course, well, we try to do, obviously, and even though it wasn't our public consultation, but since then, some people who attended the meeting had raised a number of different issues and a number of different questions about the accuracy or the validity or the reliability of some of the information that was put out there. One of the questions that was raised is, what would this development do to the value of our properties if we lived in the area? Most times, new development only enhances the value of properties, but I'm not a real estate appraiser, so I'll leave that in the hands of the people who know the answers to those questions. And to that end, we're advising Council and the public today of an initiative whereby we've asked for a third-party independent objective analysis, and that's being done by ARA Admiralty Realtor Advisors, Kirkland Balsam and Associates. And the cost for doing that is $5,000 plus HST plus disbursements. Now, the disbursements would be just the normal fee costs and registering the product values and all of those sorts of things. So this is a very important initiative, Council. The development is a very interesting development, but we certainly do want to ensure that we provide the information to the people who ask the questions. So for $5,000 plus HST and some small disbursement fees, we're recommending that we proceed with this and award the contract to the Kirkland Balsam ARA Atlantic Realty Advisors, and I so move.
Moved, seconded by Deputy Mayor Locke. Any question or comment? Council? One question for you, Councillor Walsh, on it.
Sure.
I think this is a tremendous idea. Do we have a timeline for this at all? How long will this take?
I think we're talking just 2 to 4 weeks.
Oh, it's very short.
Yeah, it's very short. Yeah,
okay.
It's not going to be a long turnaround time around. We want the information, and I think there was already there was already a question asked by one of the people who attended the meeting as to whether or not this was going to be approved or not, or whether the information from this report was going to be made public today. But in actual fact, it was
The
just
report hasn't even started.
It was
yet.
just the awarding of the contract.
Okay,
That's
fine.
right. That's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to my
Thank
colleague
you.
in
Well,
crime.
first I'll call the question on that.
Yep.
So get the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded motion is carried. Deputy Mayor Locke.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Walsh. The next item for us, Your Worship, has to do with the extension of a development permit for a commercial garage along Topsail Road. Committee was advised that Everglade Holdings Limited has asked for an extension to their development permit for a second building on their property at 1165 Topsail Road for an additional year. The map is there for Council to have a look at. Just the background here, Your Worship, a development permit was issued for this in September of 2013. And of course, it expired as of the 17th of September, 2015. So the company has come forth requesting an extension. There's no changes whatsoever to the conditions of the 2013 development permit that was issued and that was proposed by the proponent here. And the regulations of the city, the development regulations, they provide for the ability and opportunity for the city to extend the permit for an additional year. So the committee is recommending that Council approve the extension of the conditional development permit, DP 13065, for a second building on the property at 1165 Topsail Road for one additional year, and I so move.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Comments? All those in favor? Contrary-minded motion carried.
And the next item has to do with a tree planting. This coming weekend on Saturday, September 26th, TD Tree Day event is being co-hosted by TD Friends of the Environment Foundation, the Conservation Corps of Newfoundland and Labrador, and the City of Mount Pearl from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, again this Saturday, September 26th. And approximately 300 trees and shrubs, Your Worship, are going to be planted by a group of volunteers to enhance the Pollux Drive buffer area. We've already notified the residents in the area that are backing on to the buffer zone just to let them know what's taking place this weekend. When they see upwards of 50 volunteers coming out with their shovels and soil and all this sort of stuff. So just let them know that it's going to be an enhancement of beautification of the area here. So we got 50 volunteers, employees, families are expected to participate, and our friends at Russell's Land Design are also helping and assisting in the event. This matter is just forwarded for public notice and the knowledge of Council, and any Council members who wish to attend, by all means, we can contact Miss Julia Schwartz. Come out and help dig a few holes and plant a few trees.
Plant a few trees.
It's a great initiative.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you, sir, very much.
No worries. The next item, Your Worship, is the development permit list for September 7th to the 18th of 2015. One item on the list today at 35 Beckland Drive, and I move that the list be accepted as presented.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion carried.
Residential building construction permit for September the 8th to the 18th. During this time, valued at $336,400, and I move that the amount be accepted as presented.
Moved, seconded. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried.
Next, the commercial building construction during September the 8th to the 18th. For this period, $1,766,400, and I move that the amount be accepted as presented.
Moved, seconded. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried.
And that's it for our committee this week, Your Worship.
And
Thank you.
that concludes Infrastructure and Public Works. We are on to new business. Deputy Mayor, floor is back to you.
Back up. A number of items here, Your Worship. First are a couple of bouquets I'd like to throw out. As all council and staff are aware, we attended the Campia unveiling today down at the Team Guju complex. I'm sure you'll speak to it in greater detail, but I just want to congratulate all parties involved. Certainly the board of directors with Campia and all their volunteers, and there's a lot of children down there today with a lot of smiling faces, so they're really looking forward to this new facility that will be open in 2016. So that's great news. Also, I want to acknowledge the event on Saturday past at the Amberley House Museum. That was a great event, and of course the weather cooperated for us. I just want to thank the chair of the board of directors up there, John Rich, Carla Watson, who's the museum manager, and also Miss Alison Bennett. She was the Centennial Celebration Coordinator, and they did a fine job
They were
to
marvelous.
pull that together. And the Church Lad Brigade was there, and we had seniors from some of the residents. So, I mean, it was a great event, and it was a great celebration of the HM wireless station that played a very important role.
I took full credit for the weather.
Of course you did, and so you should. So I just want to throw out again a bouquet to those folks there. I want to mention an issue that was brought up again to me since school has gotten back, and when I and Councillor Walsh sat on the Infrastructure Public Works Committee, they were questioning again about the traffic lights up on Michener Avenue and Ruth Avenue, and again about some of the near misses that they've encountered already. I did want to acknowledge publicly that Infrastructure Public Works has looked at it. We did have a traffic assessment done, Your Worship, and to actually make the lights four-way red would have delayed the traffic. I think it went from, I'm going from memory here now, 30-odd seconds up to 112 seconds or something, which would have implications on the traffic system up by O'Donnell and Wendy's Tim Hortons at Old Placentia Road and Ruth Avenue. But they are looking at other means, and I raised it here about potentially putting in reduced traffic speed limits during the school times. So we haven't, the issue is not sort of abandoned. We're certainly still looking at it, but we're looking at other options to look at that, because again, and we can encourage the motorists to watch the kiddies when they're on the crosswalks, and they're not supposed to enter the intersection when there's children on a crosswalk at all. You can't, as I've seen too many times, I've seen motorists leaving Michener Avenue, splitting the group of children, walking across the crosswalk. So there may be 5 in the front, and 15 feet back there may be another 6 or 8 kiddies, and cars are actually zipping in between the two groups of children. So of course I don't have to say that that's not a wise thing to do, but we are looking at options to enhance the safety in that area. I just wanted to let the folks know that. Also, I've been asked by Mount Pearl Senior High School that they are doing a fall musical this year. I know the folks at O'Donnell have done musical for years outside of the school, and they're huge successes. Council has attended those on a regular basis. And this year, we've done some musicals, or the students have done some musicals at senior high, but they've all been in-house in the local gymnasium. But now they're going to take it to the LSPU hall. So they're going to be doing the Broadway musical, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and it will take place on December 10th to the 13th. So all the favorite Peanut characters are going to be brought to life. So for ticket information, they can call folks can call the LSPU hall or Mount Pearl Senior High. They can visit the webpage and find out the information about tickets there. I know they're doing the auditions now and the casting. There's a huge amount of excitement, and Councillor Walsh would know this as being principal at O'Donnell for years, how it builds the school community and the community at large. So there's a lot of volunteers within the community and outside the community. So I just let folks know December 10th to the 13th, come out and have a look at what I'm sure will be a great production, because our youth in Mount Pearl always do a bang-up job
Fantastic.
when they take place in this.
Really
and
good.
that is it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Stoyles.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a couple of things that I wanted to mention today. First of all, the Queen's Reign. We had a little celebration here at City Hall last week, and it was, a number of people attended to celebrate the Queen's Reign being the longest heir to the throne, and I was certainly delighted as other members of council was here, and just wanted to recognise that as well. And also, Your Worship, I attended the Sports Hall of Fame. They had the new facility in our Summit Centre. They unveiled the new state of the art, I guess, where they're going to be doing everything digital and everything, and they presented everybody that was inducted over the past number of years with their pictures and that, and now it's all computerized, and great to see this happening. And anybody goes into the Summit Centre now, it's open there right to your right for anybody to go in and view, and I was delighted to be there to be there for that. And also myself and Councillor Ludwell attended Strive, and I don't know if many around here will remember Angela Crockwell. Well, Angela came to work here working with youth back about 22 years ago, and she's heavily involved with this organisation, and they want to thank the city for all they've done to help with this youth organisation, and we've partnered with them in the past. Our our youth organisations, and we attended on behalf of City and attended a function for them just Thursday night of last week. Also, Your Worship, as the Deputy Mayor mentioned, Admiralty House, and it was certainly a pleasure to be there for this event, the 100th anniversary of Admiralty House. But one of the things I want to mention about Admiralty House and when we did the festivities on Saturday, and it was absolutely a beautiful day, one of the nicest days of summer, and it was out in the beautiful garden in Admiralty House, and some of the people I want to mention today who was very responsible for Admiralty House, such as former Councillor Gloria Pearson, and there was a number of partners with Admiralty House that I think a lot of the history sometimes, because it happened years ago, sometimes gets forgotten. But Dave Whalen was another icon when it came to Admiralty House. Housing, Newfoundland Labrador Housing played a big part in the building of Admiralty House, as did federal government. And Jean Payne was the MP at that time, and Admiralty House wouldn't have happened, without the foresight of Councillor Gloria Pearson and people like Jean Payne and Dave Whalen, who took the initiative and worked with Gloria and with the council of the day, Julie Bentley, to see Admiralty House being built. And it was certainly an honour to be there to mark this event. And I think every member of council had been there at that event. And also, I too was at the launch of gymnastics today, and it's great to see such a facility going to be built in Mount Pearl. My two children were involved with gymnastics way back 25 years ago or 23 years ago. I think they're on the go for the past 26 years. And I certainly was delighted today to be there. And I wanted to say thank you to all the people that went before, all the people who were putting this together, and hats off to people who were there today and put so much work into getting this facility built. But we were there in the beginning when we went to the Reed Centre, and we had to put, all we had in the beginning was mats, and then we started buying equipment and whatnot, and every single time we used it, we would have to take it down and put it together. And the Deputy Premier today even said he was involved in working for this organisation as one of his first jobs. So I got to say, it's a great facility, and I was certainly involved with on the executive back many years ago, and it's great to see something like this coming to Mount Pearl, and it's going to be a regional facility, so I'm so delighted about that. The other thing I wanted to mention, Your Worship, is this past weekend I attended the Iron Ore Workers 764 dinner on Saturday night, and I understand, Your Worship, that you attended the opening of the new training facility in our business park, and it was a lovely evening on Saturday evening, and this was a centerpiece on every single table. So I was lucky enough to get one of these to bring back to the city, to leave at City Hall. Every single table, there was 350 people at this event on Saturday night, and they give so much to the community. And I just wanted to say it was an honor to be there to represent the city. And I'm going to I got two other items. One is the shoppers on Commonwealth Avenue. Back about 8-10 years ago, before the new shoppers got built, we used to have major problems with deliveries and things happening on the back of shoppers on Commonwealth Avenue. Well, apparently the residents have contacted me now 2 or 3 different times that 5 o'clock in the morning that they're picking up garbage and delivering products to them 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. I passed it along to staff, and apparently 2 of the residents have contacted the city. They didn't know who they were speaking to at the city, but apparently this has gone on now for 2 or 3 weeks, and they're saying under our noise bylaws they shouldn't be delivering anything before 6 o'clock in the morning. And these residents, are older now, and they wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, and they just wanted to stop again. They lived with it for a number of years, and it took a long time to get it resolved, and they're not happy. And they've asked me to bring it into public council meeting. And I meant to mention Ironworkers is their 60th anniversary, the same as the city as Mount Pearl has 60 years. And I'm going to finish up with Canada Post. Try something new, yeah. Last week, at the last public meeting, I brought up about Canada Post and what Corner Brook was doing, and how they're not going to allow any of the mailboxes, any super mailboxes, to go in until after the federal election. And I know it's gone way past that here on the Avalon, and I know the City of St. John's and other council have spoken out, and I too have spoken out many times about Canada Post. But the thing this disappointed me the most was last Wednesday I went to Masonic Park, and I thought that Masonic Park wasn't going to be done with super mailboxes. I thought that was going to be one of the areas within the city that they weren't going to do that. Of all the seniors that are up there, 20% of them have home care, but there's mailboxes in every single little nook up there, and it was so heartbreaking and so disappointing to be up there. It's the first time I've been up there probably in a month or a couple of months to go around, and I was so heartbroken to see that they're going to treat our senior citizens like this as well. I thought that areas in the city and areas in the region that had seniors like this, they were going to be not going to be doing the super mailboxes, and I'm just heartbroken to think that our poor seniors are going to have to drag out in the snow to try and get a bit of mail. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's it for me, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll be brief.
Okay.
The Mount Pearl AAA Mosquito Blazers participated in the Eastern Canadian Championships on this past weekend, and they were the silver medalists, which was a tremendous result for them. They lost a very hard-fought game to Nova Scotia, but I just wanted to pass on congratulations to the team members, to their coaches, and I know the parents and supporters of the team are really ecstatic. So, great show. Certainly nothing to hang your head about, a silver medal in an Eastern Canadian Championship, so good for them, and I'll leave a few things for some of the others to speak on.
Councillor Tessier.
Well, Campia and Admiralty House, beautiful events.
You can do it like I'm doing, just tick them off.
That's right, that's why I was doing the same thing. Canada Post, I actually had a phone call from somebody where Canada Post is proposing, or I guess they are putting some mailboxes adjacent to their property, and they had to move the location. They did a dig out for the boxes and determined that actually wasn't the appropriate place, and they had to shift it. So they've got a nice hole dug, and I guess the resident is wondering if we are going to make sure that Canada Post remediates the property after that they took out. Yeah, because I assured them that we, in all likelihood we would, but I'm not sure that we've encountered that before, where they dug an area for a proposed location and then changed their minds. I'm not sure if we've encountered that before.
I'm not aware of that, but they would be required to reinstate it. So if you provide me with the address, then we'll follow up on that.
Mm-hmm. They have to remediate it.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, and again, it's the same area. It's just a slightly different location, but they did create a dig. And also, to the Deputy Mayor's point, the children are back in school, and I want to implore the traffic to please slow down. I'm willing to bet that a lot of people don't realize that it is illegal to go through an intersection when children are still on a crosswalk, when anybody's still on a crosswalk. Mm-hmm. So one thing that we might be able to look at Public Works is maybe there's signage that we can put up around every crosswalk where there's a school, because there's lots of them. We got lots of them in Mount Pearl, and this is a concern everywhere, Old Placentia Road, up by Wendy's, over by Dominion, and just maybe a reminder sign. It's illegal to proceed while pedestrians are on a crosswalk. Maybe that's something that we can look at as well, because I'm willing to bet that a lot of people don't realize that actually is a law. So again, I mean, these are people problems. They're not traffic problems, they're people problems. We all understand that. But maybe everybody just needs a reminder. And that's it.
Councillor Aker?
I too, Your Worship, had a list, so I'm just going down through it now. So I think most of my work is done for this end. Campia, the Queen's Reign, Admiralty House. I too have a Canada Post story. And it's a bit of a complaint, but it's not about the overall thrust that they're onward with now. It has to do with down by the Team Gushu complex, just inside on that new fence we built. Remember, we purchased the property, expanded the entranceway a few years ago. They've actually got mailboxes, and Craig Dyer with the postal unit said
It's on the parking lot.
It's on a parking lot, but it's in a fire lane. And you can see right at the bottom, along the curb, it says fire lane. Now, we often look at the grocery stores, the Canadian Tires, not picking any particular business, but we often want to make sure that nobody ever parks in a fire lane. And I don't know if they're getting anywhere with it, but I would think, and I'm prepared to, we should as a council, if there's issues with safety, we should be forwarding back to Canada Post, and we should ask them to have a second look. In fact, we should demand we have a second look. So I wonder if that one, which is down on the Team Gushu parking lot, maybe, is there an update on that one, or can we refer it to Canada Post?
We're going to mail in all those suggestions.
We will follow up. I have no update, but we will follow up, and then we'll provide you with an update.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much.
Councillor Stoyles?
I was just going to mention the Canada Post again, that now that we're going to be in the winter in the next couple of months, and I know they had given us a direct line apparently, that if we have problems, that they're going to be there right away. I just want to make sure that that direct line is available so that council can, if we get complaints, we can contact Canada Post, because I know over the years when we've had issues with snow clearing in Canada Post, it was a nightmare for residents who lived next to one of those super mailboxes. So I can imagine what it's going to be like this year, where the city is full of them.
Thank you.
And it may be bad, but like, in fairness, I'm not trying to defend Canada Post, but we need to do with the issues. The whole issue of whether or not they should be putting in the mailboxes or not, I guess basically has been long, long beyond our control. But we do have to deal with the issues. And of course, the complaints we take to Canada Post have to be serious and practical. We just can't be doing it, for the sake of doing it, because that'll give us more credibility, I guess, in terms of working to get the problem solved that we identify. That will be my hope. And I just wanted to make a comment about the traffic issue, and just from another perspective. I want to call out to parents out there with regards to students crossing the crosswalk. Be aware that there are some very bad drivers out there. There are people who are in a rush. And also, parents, can you talk to your kids and make sure that they are responsible too when they're using the crosswalks, and that you have to assume that basically the car is going to win the battle. The motorcycle is going to win the battle, if you know what I mean. So basically, I think we have a responsibility, perhaps in the school system, perhaps as parents, as a society, to ensure that the kids know how to set their street smart, that they are not taking chances, and that they avoid the traffic. And that's my final comment. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ledwell.
Your Worship, I was going to join my colleagues in going postal about Canada Post, but I decided that I would avoid that. True to form, absolutely. Of course, most of the events that have happened in the city have been addressed. I also want to join with my colleagues in congratulating all the volunteers associated with the reopening of the Hall of Fame, the Admiralty House event that we took part in on Saturday, as well as the big unveiling of the new gymnastics facility. All fantastic things, as always, happening in the city of Mount Pearl. There's always lots going on. But I just wanted to draw some attention to the Association for the Arts. As you're all aware, of course, the Association for the Arts in Mount Pearl just recently clued up their Arts Week. I believe this is the 11th year that they've been doing that week. And, of course, they, throughout the year, continue to do great work to advocate for the arts and to provide young and old alike in the city of Mount Pearl with an opportunity to take part in various artistic endeavors. So I want to congratulate them on another great week. It continues to grow, perhaps slowly in the case of some events, but certainly I think 11 years of doing anything on a volunteer basis with the dedication that they have put forth, certainly worth recognizing. So congratulations to the Association for the Arts in Mount Pearl.
Thank you very much. Well, I think that's pretty well covered. I think, guys, you've pretty well covered it all. I will let you know this. This is new businesses. So what have you been at? Read your diary. So we've done all this kind of stuff. I had the pleasure this week as well to attend a dinner with veterans from Branch 36 of our Legion, and had an opportunity to speak at the dinner with just our veterans. The place was full. There's no doubt their new locale, if they continue to grow, is going to give them some pressures. they are allowed to have about 66 people in the building, and they now are at 77 members. Now, they were not all veterans, so this particular dinner was veterans. So as we develop St. David's Park and the multi-million-dollar initiative that we are undertaking there, I think there's going to have to be a recognition on the part of this council, administration for the Branch 36 Legion, and others that there's going to come a point at which the pressure will be on, which is why we've made an instruction or left an instruction with the developers that are doing this work on our behalf that we put no structure or anything in the way of a potential expansion of that building somewhere down the road. I don't think it's going to happen in the next year or 2 years, but I don't think there's any doubt that we're going to see increasing pressure for something like that to happen. But you don't want to do it so that it can't. We don't want to do the park so that it can't happen. That was a wonderful dinner, and I want to thank Melvin Heath, the president there, and all of the executive for inviting us to do that. It was a lot of fun, very interesting, very poignant evening to talk about the freedoms that we enjoy with what's going on in the world today. In fact, the whole Syrian conflict and what's happening in the Middle East got talked about over the course of the dinner a great deal. I did have the pleasure to cut a ribbon on a new building on Friday, which was, of course, the Iron Workers Local 764. Lucy Stoyles attended the dinner on my behalf, and I thank her for doing that on Saturday night. But on Friday, I did get to cut the ribbon on this facility. Interestingly enough, a lot of major unions now are doing this. They are actually opening and establishing their own training centers. We had the pleasure, a bunch of us, of touring the Laborers International Training Center that exists here in the city of Mount Pearl. This one as well. There is a third one. All of them are located in Mount Pearl, and they're all located in Donovan. That's a pretty good deal. I think that's good, and we want to offer our continued congratulations to the iron workers on their grand opening. The president said to me, nobody has any idea that when we say the word stick some steel, we're talking about them. You know, nobody really knows that. On Saturday morning, I attended something that was new to me. It's a new walk. It's called the Multiple Myeloma Walk. Multiple myeloma is a form of blood cancer like leukemia. Over 7,500 people victimized by this dreaded disease. Like all of these organizations, this one is fairly new to our province, though not new to the country. They held a walk Saturday morning at the track and field, and we had the pleasure of walking the track with them for a couple of times. A 5-kilometer walk on the track, in case anybody is wondering, is 14 times around it. Okay, the old mayor needed oxygen. But we did it, and I have to say it was tremendous. They didn't have a big turnout, about 30 to 40 people, but I do believe that it's something that they will grow in the future. And last evening, Julia Schwartz and I, we were out at the boardroom at the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs to talk about the NEAR plan, the Northeast Avalon Region Regional Plan. That's what NEAR all stands for here. The consultants to actually do the work on this plan is Stantec. They are beginning work on their public consultations today. I believe before the end of October, we as a council will be engaged in and involved in a working day. Some are going to get interviewed. Some of you are going to get interviewed to talk about regional matters in particular, how they impact upon how the city does its planning, and how we're going to actually create a replacement for the St. John's Urban Region Regional Plan, which goes back to 1976 or some such thing. So, and it's a $500,000 initiative. But council, get ready. We're going to be doing a little bit of talking about that, I am sure. Everything else was everybody mentioned. Obviously, Mount Pearl continues to be a pretty busy place. Going to invite a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Aker. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, that's nice. We should keep that. That's got to go on display somewhere.
I was going to ask you, Lucy, if you were allowed to take it.
Oh, no, they...
There's 350 people there.
We let them off too, eh? We let Mark away.